today.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Review Show. How you doing tonight? We're starting a little late tonight, but that's okay. Joining me is my friend Bill. How you doing tonight, Bill?
I'm doing okay, and I'm really excited what we're going to talk about today.
We have a good topic for you tonight, and it involves one of the most, it's a specific genre of film, but we are going to talk a lot about it tonight, and that topic is gangster films. We're talking The Godfather. We're talking Godfather 2. We're talking Goodfellas, The Sopranos, TV shows, movies of gangsters. You name it, we're going to talk about it tonight for probably the next hour or so. So feel free to jump down in the comments. And all this stuff. Oh, and Bill's shirt is on.
I got the perfect shirt for today, folks. The perfect shirt for this. I even told JT when we were texting. I'm like, I got the perfect shirt for this.
And why don't you explain to them?
Okay, you got right here. You got Don.
Why don't you show them why don't you tell me what your shirt says or what it is?
Okay, it's a picture of a Don Corleone from The Godfather, Jimmy Conway and Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas, Tony Montana from Scarface, played by Al Pacino, and you got Tony Montana and Tony Soprano, played by the late, great James Gandolfini. May he rest in peace. No. So I actually found this
his shirt is old.
I got about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I was in Spencer's, I think.
Okay.
I was in Spencer's in our local mall. For those of you who don't know what Spencer's is, it's basically like a Hot Topic.
It's basically a Hot Topic.
It's basically a Hot Topic.
I would not be surprised if it.
And I just found it. I'm like, you know what? I think this shirt is cool. Let me get it. No, I don't have a shopping problem, folks. I don't. So,
well, we're all glad. We're all glad you're here tonight, though. For real, we're all very happy.
And like, listen,
beyond thrilled.
I just want to say before we begin, we're not going to talk about what happened today. But I do want, because we do try to keep that shit out of it. We try to keep this a zone where you can forget about all that crap. But I just
we're trying to escape.
We're glad you're here, and hopefully tonight for an hour we can give you a distraction. We can have some, and we're going to be honest. We were actually debating if we should do this, if we were going to do this tonight, right?
Yeah, we no joke. We were actually debating on whether or not we should actually be live tonight because of what's going on, and we're not going to go into anything particular or anything like that. But we're just going to say that what's happening is going nuts, and
you know what?
We think,
and we just want to say, we're here tonight. Listen, hopefully we could give you some, levity. And tonight we can just do what we always do and just have some fun. Right, JT?
Yeah, we're just trying.
Let's just have some fun.
Listen, everyone, I'm telling you right now, despite whatever happened today, we are here to distract you. We are here to bring
no matter what side you're on. No matter what side you're on. Hold on one second. I just got to charge my phone. Remember, folks,
no matter what side you're on,
before you go on camera.
Plug your phone in, Bill. Oh my God, he did it again. Anyways, so look, regardless, everyone, we want to let you all know that what's going on today is craziness, and we are trying to avoid it the best we can. So we're not even going to acknowledge it. We're going to simply talk to you tonight about gangster films. That is our topic tonight right here on the Super Review Show.
JT.
And we're going to be... Yes.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I was just wrapping up our introduction. We're going to be talking about Godfather 1, Godfather 2, Godfather 3, The Sopranos, Al Pacino, and Scarface. We're going to talk about all of that stuff tonight. Maybe even the 30s. Who knows? Because there's a lot of gangster films in the 30s. So we can't forget about that.
Yeah. And you know what? There's something I got to tell you, JT. Are you ready?
Tell me.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. You want
to start
with... I know I went from rags to riches.
Where's that from, everyone? Tell me right now.
Where's it from,
That's
folks?
from, before I pull it up, that trailer's in my top 10 trailers of all time. Just letting you know. It's from this movie right here. I love this film. It's so good.
Oh, this is like
It's actually
one of
my favorite Martin.
One of my
so
absolute favorites. It is
Bill,
definitely in my top 10. Or actually, it's in my top 5.
Of all time?
Yeah, of all time. It's like, this is like in my top 5.
For real.
Yeah, love this movie to death. I have it on DVD. This is like my favorite Scorsese movie.
Really? Oh, I just said that too. No way.
Oh my God. High five. Virtual high five.
Yeah. Love to see it.
It is just so good. And you know, this is actually based on a true story.
That's right. It actually is based on a true story. It's based on.
Okay, for those of you who haven't seen the movie,
go ahead.
It is based on the life of Henry Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Who, as taken from the intro, as far back as he could remember, he always wanted to be a gangster.
Hey, man, what do you think? You look like a gangster.
Look like a gangster. I love that movie.
It's so fun.
And it's also based on a book by... It's also based on a
book by Wise Guy by...
Nicholas P. Yelly, I think his name is. That's how you say it.
Correct. Way to go.
I've actually read the book before.
Oh, how is it?
It's a good book. Because it's actually funny. I took a criminology class when I was in college.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was a really interesting class. Like, I wasn't like towards my major or anything. It was one of those classes I took just for you now.
Oh, one of those courses.
It's one of those, like, listen, here's my advice to anyone who's in college. If you want to take a class for fun, take a class for fun.
True that.
What was that, JT?
True that, homie. Seriously.
Yeah, if you want to take a class for fun, take a class for fun. Yeah, and, you know, I just thought that was a very interesting class. And one of our assignments is we had to do a book report on a true crime book.
Right.
And it said it could be any of these books on the list, or if you have something, talk to me first and I can approve it. I said, I want to do Wise Guy, the book Goodfellas was a part of. He goes, okay, but don't just watch the movie and write a report on it. Don't do the easy thing, Murph, here. Don't let me down here, Murph.
I will say this too. I'm just looking at the overall like stats of the movie, like the Oscars, Golden Globes, British. You know, they won one Oscar.
Yeah, best supporting actor.
And it was Joe Pesci's only Oscar. His only Oscar.
But anyway, the plot is Henry Hill. He lives across from a cab stand with Paulie, and that's run by Paulie, played by Paul Sereno.
Yep.
And then he starts working for him. But of course, Paul Sereno and all of them, they're mobbed up. And they're part of the Lucchese crime family. And then he just gets into the lifestyle. And he's
in. He's
in. And then he gets associated with characters like Tommy DeVito, played by Joe Pesci.
Yep.
And then Jimmy Conway, played by Robert De Niro.
Well, that's right.
And it's just like the span of life, I think, from like the 50s to like the early 80s to when he got arrested from... Okay, listen, this is a true story, so I'm not really going to spoil... I'm not really spoiling anything because it's a true story.
You don't want to overdo it, though, for the people who haven't seen the movie.
Okay, but let's just say... Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but let's just say... Okay, there was a quote earlier in the movie when Jimmy tells Henry when he gets picked up, you know, when he gets pinched, when he goes, you learn the most important lesson.
Yep.
Never rat on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
That's true.
No, that's what he tells us. Always mouth on your friends and never rat on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
Why not? I've seen the movie.
And let's just say he doesn't exactly follow his advice in the end.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
He doesn't follow Jimmy's advice. But like it starts in like the 50s from when he's a teenager and it ends in like the early 80s.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, this is quite the lineup of cast members too, if you think about it. As far as the cast goes,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
this is Robert De Niro.
Jimmy Conway.
I lost him. No, where's Jimmy Conway? Jimmy Conway. Where is he? Oh, you're the character. Sorry.
Jimmy Conway, played by the great Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Our shout out to whoever's in the chat board, Bill.
It is our very dear friend and our number one fan, Matt Hemsley. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Matt. How's it going? Good to see you again. We're not going to go too long today, but I'm glad you could join us.
We'll go as long as we can.
We'll go as long as we can.
6-hour podcast! No, let's not do that.
No, we already did a 24-hour marathon. Do we really want to do it again?
Well, we're basically kind of quarantined. So, we'll think about it.
We did it in person. Look at it for 3 days, 3 times.
Like once this whole COVID thing calms down, we should do that.
Definitely. And we could use the super secret super review show lair.
Ooh, the lair.
I call it the J cave because I'm J-Man, but that's okay.
I'm in the Bill cave, my basement. But anyway, and also some fun facts here. Jimmy Conway, that was based off a character by the name of Jimmy Burke.
Yeah.
And Burke was actually the name of his adopted parents. His birth name, no joke, his birth name was actually Conway.
No way.
Yeah, no, I watched because I have no life. I watched a whatchamacallit.
You have a life, stop it.
I was joking.
I know.
I was watching one of those like true crime things online. Not online, I was watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I was watching it on TV, and the thing is, I was watching it, and that's what they said. Go, James Conway. Burke was actually the name of his adopted parents.
Wow.
Yeah, and so, what do you think of the movie Goodfellas? And by the way, folks, tell us your favorite mob movie. Tell us your favorite crime movie. It doesn't even have to necessarily be the mob. It could be anything.
It could be the most obscure gangster movie.
Tell us. We would love to hear about it.
It could be Scarface, 1938, far away now. Which is, by the way, did you know we'll get to that when we talk about it, but the 1983 film Scarface is a remake of the 1938 film.
I knew that, and we'll get to that when we talk about it, because Bill's got some things to say about it.
But did you know that the thing about it is like 1938, 1983? The numbers are. Did you ever notice that?
The numbers are flipped.
Oh my god. But yeah, overall, this actually I'm a big fan of trailers, as most of you may or may not know. But I will say I do love this movie quite a bit, and the trailer for this movie is so good. I actually rewatch it. I'm not kidding you, like religiously, as like one of my favorite trailers. Like, cause okay, long story short, I'll make this really brief for those of you who may or may not want to know this. But on my personal channel, on my personal YouTube channel, you can find a playlist called, if I can get to it, 1 second, called The Greatest Movie Trailers of All Time. If I can find it. What the heck, man? It's right here. Hold on. Greatest Movie Trailers of All Time. It's getting publicity. It's getting some. There's Scarface. Well, once I'm not kidding you. It's kind of crazy. I've actually watched. I'll get to Goodfellas in 1 second, but I've actually watched all these like in order. That's just how much time I have in my hands sometimes, but that's okay. Once I got to like the 90s, where I got to this Goodfellas right here. Once I get to this trailer right here, I'm like, I'm home. I feel fantastic. I love it to death, and the trailer itself reminds me. Excuse me, it doesn't remind me. It's one of the best trailers I've ever seen. And I'm including Batman vs. Superman's Comic-Con trailer. I'm including Star Wars, all that stuff. This is a phenomenal trailer. I have to just say that and give credit to that. Plug for my playlist right here, which is actually getting pretty popular. Anyways, Goodfellas. The first time I saw this movie, I was initially like slightly bored. I will admit that, but I learned to love it quite a bit as I watched it about 3 or 4 more times. And within the 3 or 4 more times, it was that good of a film to me, and I love it to death now. It's actually it's not my top 20, but it's definitely up there for me. It's definitely one of those high up there films that I love. And actually, Paul Sorvino was at New York Comic Con doing autographs at one point. I know that. So I almost met him there, but that's another story for another time. Overall, though, I love the film.
He seems like a really nice guy. I'm sure he's probably a nice dude.
I'm sure he is too. It's just he's like a Paul Sorvino. Hold on.
Yeah, because you probably expect him to be the big badass like mob boss. I'm sure he's probably.
Look at this. This is MafiaWiki.com. This is who Paul Sorvino is, and to be completely honest, he looks Italian, and his autograph's like $20 too. So I didn't get it, but that's me.
Okay, I have a trivia question from you from this movie. Let's see if you remember it from the scene. Why could Henry never be a made man?
Because he had a wife? I forget. I really forget. Last time I saw this like a couple years ago. Oh my God.
He couldn't be a made man because he wasn't 100% Italian.
That's right. I'm sorry about that.
Because he's also half Irish. My people.
Murphy.
Yeah. And because it said, they want so they could trace your relatives back to the old country.
Yeah, that's right.
But I love the movie. But when you said it's boring, I could kind of see why. It's like 3 hours long.
Oh, how long is the runtime?
I have the DVD, and the DVD is like 2 sides.
It's 2.5 hours long. 2 hours and 28 minutes long.
I have the DVD. It's 2 sides.
Really? I have a Blu-ray. And it's 1 disc.
No, it's 1 disc, but it's 2 sides.
Oh no, mine's 1 side.
Oh, well, isn't that? Well, I don't have the Blu-ray. I just have the regular DVD.
Oh, that's probably why. Because I have the Blu-ray. Yeah.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Hotshot with his.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
overall, though, I think it's a brilliant, fantastic movie. And if you're not Italian, if you're not a gangster film, it's still an incredible movie. You should still watch it just for the sake of seeing it. It's really great. And
absolutely.
Ray Liotta playing Henry Hill is fantastic. He nailed it. And I never heard of him until this movie, so which is.
Yeah, and Henry Hill, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, for real. So
he passed away in 2012.
Oh, right.
And he was on Howard Stern's show a few times.
Uh-huh.
Back when I listened to Howard Stern.
Yeah, wait, you listen to Howard Stern? What's going on?
Here and there.
I actually, it's funny. Howard Stern is. That's another story for another time. Anyway,
yeah, and I'm sure Matt is glad I'm out of that phase, aren't you, Matt? Aren't you glad, Matt, that I'm out of that phase? Yeah. So Goodfellas. Okay. Speaking of Matt, Goodfellas is a good movie. Although, as far as Scorsese gangster films, I like The Departed and The Irishman more. You want to talk about those, or do you want to?
Or
do you want to do The Godfather?
Which ones?
The Irishman and The Departed.
Let's do The Irishman. Oh, this is the Netflix one that came out and was caused of the controversy and stuff.
Well, I don't think it really caused controversy. I think because it's 3.5 hours long.
That's absolutely god-awfully ridiculous.
No, people were actually saying, you better watch this like a mini-series. Don't watch it as a full movie.
Yeah, it's like 3.5. Did you say 3.5?
It is 3.5 hours long.
Oh my God. And this is also Martin Scorsese, if I'm not mistaken, right?
This is also Marty Scorsese.
Wasn't it nominated for, didn't they, weren't they nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah, but he lost to the guy who directed Parasite. And side tangent, I'm never gonna forget this. When he when the guy who directed Parasite won at the Oscars last year. He won a few Oscars, so he's been up there a few times on stage. And Marty Scorsese was also nominated. And I'm never gonna forget it. The guy who directed Parasite, he had his interpreter there because he's Korean, and he's like talking, and he's trying, and he gives this one quote that was in his film school textbook. So there was this one quote that was given in my film school textbook, the interpreter saying, and he goes, and he puts his hand up to the interpreter to stop her and said, that quote was given by Marty Scorsese.
Wow.
And he got a standing ovation for that. And he said, Marty, you really inspired me to make movies. And thank you.
Wow. That's
great. And I just give that man so much credit. Like, he took that moment not to sit there and gloat, but to sit there and talk about how much of an inspiration Marty Scorsese was to him. But but The Irishman. A little bit of
the topic.
What was that?
Yeah. I was going to say about the Irishman. Could we get into like the drama about it? I know it's a drama, but I'm talking about like getting into
what it's about.
The like it wasn't supposed to be in theaters, but they made it on Netflix anyways because they thought it'd be too long or whatever. Well, what's the story behind that? I figured it was.
It did get a theatrical release. But they just put it on Netflix. But the reason why it was only limited release in theaters because, then, they weren't nominating, if your film was in a few theaters, your film could be nominated for an Oscar.
Right. And he wanted to be, I remember now. He wanted to be nominated for an Oscar. Right.
So they put the film, but they did put the film on Netflix. Because, honestly, I remember a friend of mine said, hey, for my birthday, we're going to Westchester. We're going to go see The Irishman. I'm like, okay, one, I'm not going all the way down to Westchester. No offense, Westchester.
I gotcha.
And two, I'm not going to sit through a 3.5-hour movie and,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these movies. Look, the only, I'm confession, this is completely off topic, but I've only seen the first Lord of the Rings film, but I've not even seen the theatrical cut. I've only seen the extended cut because of the Fellowship, the first one. I do not at all. If you go past the 3-hour mark and like 3 hour and 10-minute mark, I'm starting to fall asleep, to be completely honest. Avengers Endgame was like 3 hours and like a minute or 2 hours and 59 minutes. That was fine. But like Fellowship or Two Towers and Return of the King being like the extended cut of Return of the King is no joke. It's 4 hours long. Who the fuck is going to watch a 4-hour movie? Oh, he's sweaty. No, seriously, who's going to watch a 4-hour fucking movie? Like, I'm sorry. But
if there's a director's cut of this movie, I don't want to watch it. It's probably like 6 hours long.
I guarantee you there's a director. I don't know that, but like, you know what I mean? And the budget, look at this for a second. Like oh my God, what a box office bomb.
Well, no, because it was
the
mainly
budget
on Netflix. It was
the budget was between 160 and 2. Right, but in the box office when it ran though, it only made $8 million.
Okay, but here's the story of The Irishman. Okay, we're finally getting to the plot. It's about a guy named Frank Sheeran, who is a truck driver and is a whatchamacallit, and he's a hitman for the mob. Frank Sheeran is played by Robert De Niro.
Okay.
It's based on a book called I Heard You Paint Houses, which is, I actually didn't know this until after I saw the movie, but I Heard You Paint Houses means, no, I actually thought he painted houses, but what that meant was, it means you people. It means you whack people. So he becomes a hitman with his very good friend, Russell Buffalino, played by Joe Pesci. He becomes very buddy with.
Okay.
And then because they're all in the unions, and they become very close associates with Jimmy Hoffa.
Okay.
Who, I don't know if you know who Jimmy Hoffa was.
No, I don't
He
know.
was the head of the Teamsters union, and he was a big union guy. But there was a bit of a it shows like there's a bit of a conflict, even though they're all together, like between the union and the mob. And this is actually I'm sorry, guys. I got to give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Well, because what happened was there's a scene. It's during the 1960 election. All the mobsters were going for Kennedy because all the mobsters, they wanted to, well, among other reasons, the mobsters wanted to build casinos in Cuba. And Hoffa was against that. So he was going for Nixon because he thought that if they were going for, if they were going for gangsters, if the gangsters were building in Cuba, they wouldn't be using unions to help construct the casinos. So there's a fun fact to impress your friends with. But anyway, what happened was, that's what pretty much, but that's like all the conflicts and also Frank whacking people. And then we get a possible story about how Jimmy Hoffa disappeared, but it's not 100% true. You know where they say Jimmy Hoffa is? You know where they say his body is?
No, I don't know.
They say there's a rumor, this has never been 100% confirmed, that his body is under Giant Stadium.
Oh, my God.
That's the rumor.
Oh, my God.
It has not been confirmed nor denied. Chat board, do you think Jimmy Hoffa is buried under Giant Stadium? Yes or no? No, but that is a rumor that he's buried under Giant Stadium.
Uh-huh.
I remember when the Giants lost a bad kick. It goes, Jimmy Hoffa's rolling over in his hole under the stadium right now. Anyway, but yeah, is everything in this movie accurate?
No.
And here's the thing, and maybe we could do this one day about movies based on true stories. When they say based on a true story, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, but anyway, the movie is just about Frank Sheeran's life. And I will admit, the last third, I'm going to admit, the last third is good, but it is very depressing.
Okay.
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Why do you think the length worked for The Irishman, Matt? Tell us.
Yeah. Feel free to chat, my friend.
Yeah, Matt, tell us why it worked for The Irishman. But here's the thing. The last third, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it just shows, Frank's pretty much the last couple of years of his life, how he's kind of lonely at this point. All his friends have died off or are in prison.
Uh-huh.
And it just shows you, it just shows that it just really shows you the end of his life. I'm not going to tell you what the final scene is because again, I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, and here's what I'll say. With the movie being 3.5 hours long, I'm never going to forget the night it came out on Netflix. It was actually the night before Thanksgiving. It was the night before Thanksgiving. And all through the house. Bill was trying to watch The Irishman. And then a bunch of louse. So I remember, I just ate dinner. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to start it at 7 because I know the movie is 3.5 hours long. And I'll be done by 10:30. And then my parents were talking to me about something that took a little bit. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should go get my phone or my iPad or something. I go up. One of my friends call me. I'm thinking, dude, do you know what I'm trying to do right now? How dare you disrupt my plans? So we talked for about a good hour. I'm like, oh, okay. It's only okay, at this point, it's 8:30. And I'm like, okay, let me. And my mom's like, Billy, can you bring the laundry basket up? Fine. Zoop. Zoop. And then and then I started watching it about 9.
Okay.
I started watching it about 9:00, and I'm like, finally.
What time did you finish it?
Like about 1:45 in the morning.
I'm not surprised. It's that long. It's crazy.
Now, like Justin watched it in stages.
Oh my God. See, this goes back to what me and Matt are talking about in the chat board. If a movie is too long, it can get boring to some people. Like for me personally, I said that because that's the case with it for some people with me. So
there was a lot of detail and events to Frank's life, and the movie would have been lesser if stuff was left out of the movie, in my opinion. Okay, I can see that. I could see that, Matt. Yeah, but I would say if you're gonna have that much detail in it, you know what you do? Just make it a miniseries then.
Yeah.
Just make it a freaking miniseries.
You could do like easily 7 episodes of it.
Just make it a miniseries.
Yeah. And don't make the episodes on Netflix an hour long each because that's only 3 episodes. They could have made it a miniseries, make it like 7 episodes. And you could have made it like 45 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever each.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, anything's possible. So, I mean, hey, whatever. All right, which movie do you want to talk about next? The Godfather?
Let's talk about one more Scorsese movie, then we'll get to The Godfather.
Which one?
Because it was another one that Matt referenced. The Departed.
Departed. Okay.
You've never seen The Departed?
No, I never have. I've definitely heard of it. When did it come out?
2005, 2006.
The Departed, 2006. So look, this is a movie that I remember hearing about, but not really caring enough about to see it at the time because I was a lot younger. But at the same time, now that I look back at it, I'm like, you know what? I probably would have enjoyed it. I haven't seen it because I can't comment much on it. So Bill, it's up to you.
Okay.
But, yeah. So
The Departed. Here's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
The Departed. It's about I haven't seen it in a bit, but I know the gist of it. It's about Matt Damon plays a cop, a Boston cop or an FBI, plays a cop who kind of gets in with a Boston gangster, Frank Costello, who was actually based on Whitey Bulger.
Okay.
Who actually gets buddy with him and is basically doing stuff for him. And then there's a disgraced cop, Billy Koshkin, who's played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like undercover. And, it takes place in Boston with all the Irishmen. I remember when I saw it, I was watching it with Justin after we saw a really bad mob movie in theaters, which we'll talk about later if you want. It's a movie that I would love to bash again. But anyway, I do remember it. And this was a movie we watched when not going to get into too much detail, but we had something in our system. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was, it's a really good movie. I've only seen it like once or twice. But the song "I'm Shipping Up to Boston" by Dropkick Murphys?
Yeah.
That song was actually popularized by this movie.
No way, really?
Yeah, that song was popularized by this movie because that's in there.
Huh, I never knew that. I never knew that's how that song got famous.
Yeah, but
yeah, I never knew that.
It is one of the best It is one of the best mob films. It's really good. Really good film.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it a remake?
Yeah, it's a remake of a Japanese movie called Internal Affairs.
Huh. I never knew that. That's interesting. Okay.
So
it won Best Picture, right? That's right. Okay.
It did. Finally, Marty Scorsese's first best and only Best Picture and Best Director. And with the Oscars, it was actually funny. It was actually presented to him by Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, who else? And Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay. All right.
And it was funny. They were like, all of us up here have had the distinguished honor of winning this award of Best Director. And then George Lucas goes, I didn't. Goes, why are you here? I don't know. I was nominated a few times. Does that mean anything? Goes, nope. Yeah, but yeah, also Comfortably Numb is in this movie by Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I'm looking at the soundtrack right now.
And you know what I find interesting about Marty Scorsese's movies?
What?
He never really uses a film score.
You know what? You're right.
He just used songs from that era.
That's a really unique asset of filmmaking, to be completely honest with you.
Like, for instance, when you watch Goodfellas, it's all music from like the late 50s to the early 80s.
What's you got me thinking about it. Go ahead, finish up and then we'll talk about The Godfather.
But yeah, I always noticed that about Scorsese. I've always noticed that about Scorsese.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, but I do know that his movies are typically like, I don't want to say they're the same because they're not, but like they all have like a similar theme or thematic element to them of like crime. Is that wrong? Is that wrong to say that? Like, look at Taxi Driver, and we can go on about Scorsese, but
yeah, that's like a whole nother conversation for another day.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering. So, Gangs of New York. Anyways,
one of my favorites, by the way, very underrated. But anyway,
anything else for like Irishman, Scorsese? Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it for Scorsese for now. I'll probably think of something later, but here's I think what we got to get into now. Like, it would be a mortal sin if we were talking about gangster movies and we didn't talk about this movie.
Okay, what is it? Oh.
Really long and really hard, my friend.
That's what she said.
Okay, point taken.
This one? Okay.
You come to me, daughter's wedding day.
All right, so let's talk about this.
To ask me a favor. As you know, I can't refuse a favor on my daughter's wedding day. I offered you my friendship, but you didn't take it.
Classic.
Good. Yeah, and then comes a question that will be asked very shortly. So everybody, please be ready.
Bill, you want to go into it or no?
What was that?
Do you want me to go into it or you want to go into it?
Since I went into the last two, how about you go into this one?
Sure. So basically, I finally saw The Godfather.
It took you that long.
It was fantastic. I really loved it. It was long. Yes, it was long, but it didn't bore me. Like The Irishman probably would have bored me, but it may have been the fact that The Godfather is The Godfather.
Because that is like the one of the movies it is on AFI's top.
Oh, it's one of the best of all time. It really is.
It's number 3. Yeah. No, it alternates between. I think it's number 2. Last they did, it's number 2. But anyway, yeah, so it took you that long to see The Godfather?
I kid you not. This is a true story. For those of you who are interested to know. And those of you who may not know, my grandmother, if we have time, we're going to tell a quick story. I'm going to tell it. So there's a funny thing about my grandmother. Her wedding was in the 50s, and it was filmed. And my ethnicity and my background is Italian, so I have Italian in me. She was Italian. And Matt, I'm going to get to in the chat board in a second. Basically, let me put it this way. The wedding scene in The Godfather in my family is highly believed that my grandma, based the fact that Mario Puzo was at my grandmother's wedding.
No, you're kidding.
I am not.
Mario Puzo was at your grandmother's wedding.
Well, the reason why, and I can't believe I'm saying this live over the internet, but my grandmother's brother, Uncle Dominic, was in the mob. I'm saying
okay, I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna get whacked now, JT, aren't I?
No, you're fine. So, anyways, I saw this on I couldn't help but to think, maybe and apparently my family has this little thing where we are slightly confirmed that Mario Puzo was at the wedding. And the reason why the wedding scene was this big elaborate thing was because of my grandmother. So when I finally saw The Godfather, I was like, so that must have been what it must have been like. And I talked to my girlfriend. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I tell her, she's like, no. It's so funny. And I was like, so there's a high probability, and it's like fully guaranteed, but it's a high probability that the Godfather wedding scene was based off of that. There's a very high likelihood of that in my family. It's not 100%, but we're fairly sure. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's it. That's very interesting, JT. Thank you for sharing.
You sound like a teacher.
Thank you for sharing. No, I think that was that's actually very interesting.
So we think that and also I just want to get to, before we go any further, Matt Hemsley in the chat board. I thought The Godfather was super boring.
Oh, we've had this conversation. Matt and I have had this conversation about 100 times.
But I will say this. Don't get me wrong. The Godfather was an amazing movie for me personally.
Oh, I love it too.
Is it a perfect film? To some people, I'd say so.
Ask my dad. He thinks it's perfect.
To everyone? No film is perfect. Like, I remember someone asked one of my great heroes on YouTube, John Campia, contact me. He is one of my idols, and I love him to death. He's a YouTuber. Look him up. John Campia, great guy. He once said on his older show, AMC Movie Talk, question came in and said, what's a perfect film in your eyes? And he did not say The Godfather, but he said the closest thing to it was Shawshank Redemption. That's a whole other conversation. Godfather was close for him for that, though. But The Godfather, I can see how it can get boring. I can see how it can get drag a little bit. Some shots are long. There's not that much music underneath it. They're like, as far as like a score, not a song, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it can get like that. I'm sure I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. I think I gave it like a 9. But you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I think it's
go ahead.
I think it is an absolutely brilliant film. Marlon Brando in his timeless performance. And what is really good about it is the film does show. The film does really show the progression of the Corleone family.
It really does, especially when you get into Godfather 2, which I get to see. That's okay.
Yeah, and it's the film series because at the beginning, Michael in the beginning, he just got back from the war. He left college to go fight, and his brothers Sonny and Fredo are in the family business, and what's so interesting is Don Corleone he doesn't want Michael to get into the business. He wants him to do better for himself. Like there's actually a scene. There was this thing called the Godfather Saga, in which they had like put together Godfather 1 and 2.
I talked about this. I'm glad you brought that up.
And it's sort of like edited down. There's actually like a scene when they're going to see one of the consigliere, or a friend of, the former advisor to Don Corleone, who's basically on his deathbed. And while he goes into the hospital, he looks to Michael. He goes, "Okay, now the war's over. What now?" He goes, "I'm going to go finish school." He goes, "Hey, I want you to go be a doctor or a lawyer, okay? I don't want you to get involved in this." And it's so funny at the beginning of this, of the series, Michael is, but at the end of the film, he's basically becomes the new Godfather. Oh, sorry for anyone who hasn't seen it, all two of you.
Or one of you.
But like at the beginning of the film, he's just this goody-goody, and at the beginning, he becomes like, at the end, he basically is the epitome of evil.
Mm-hmm.
And like, let me tell you, the baptism scene from The Godfather, one of my favorite moments in film history.
It is great.
Do you renounce Satan? I do renounce. So, okay, I'll set the scene. Michael is at the at the baptism of his nephew, who he's going to be godfather of, and he takes care of family business during the baptism, and you have the church music. I think it's a very brilliantly edited scene.
It's fantastic.
It's a really brilliantly edited scene, because when he's saying, when the priest asks him, "Do you renounce Satan?" Fun fact, do you know where that baptism scene was actually filmed?
No, where was it filmed?
It was actually filmed at St. Patrick's Old Cathedral in Little Italy.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And I know why is a cathedral named St. Patrick called Little Italy. Quick lesson, because a bunch of the Irish were actually in Little Italy before the Italians populated it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the outside of the church was actually filmed somewhere else. I forgot. But anyway, with The Godfather, though, not just Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, brilliant. James Caan. When James Caan was in there's actually a scene that after one of the five families or one of the cops rough up Michael, there's a scene when James Caan, Sonny, the oldest son, he goes, no, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a gun, you're going to put him against his fucking head, and then boom, blood's over in your nice Ivy League suit. And I'm like, and played by James Caan, absolutely, and the scene when he gets whacked at the toll booth, that scene.
Of course.
But that is, and I'll be honest, it's a long movie, but it's absolutely brilliant. And a funny story before we move on to Godfather 2, because Justin went to film school, as we all know.
Yeah.
He actually had a professor.
Okay.
And this professor, he was like writing his his screenplay. And he goes, and he says, "Okay, that's that scene in The Godfather when Luca Brasi gets killed." And he goes, and he's silent. He goes, "Wait, you've never seen The Godfather?" And he goes, and he's like dead quiet about it. Goes, "I've seen parts of it." Going, "Motherfucker, you've never seen The Godfather?"
Oh God!
You're here in film school and you've never seen The Godfather? I feel like I want to go out and slap a child for what you just told me. And then he watched The Godfather. He goes, "Okay, Randy, I saw The Godfather." He goes, "Okay, good. Now go watch 2. I go watch Godfather 2. And speaking of Godfather 2, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
Godfather 2, this is one of those very few sequels that is just as, if not better than the original.
Oh, wondrous Headmaster Bill.
Yes.
I have not seen Godfather 2.
What? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll keep it short.
I was about to say, you're like, what the heck?
I'll keep this short. I'll keep it short, but it shows like the one thing that I did when I couldn't watch it first is that it was kind of back and forth, going back to Don Vito, who's now played by Robert De Niro, and Michael's lifestyle. It goes back and forth. The film is absolutely brilliant. It shows sort of like the contrast between Michael and Don Vito. And I think it's absolutely great. And then we got the film nobody likes to talk about.
Wait, hold on. Don't move.
Oh, God, he's getting something, isn't he?
Dun, 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 dun.
The Godfather Part 3. Okay, you've all heard me.
Did you cue the music yet?
Godfather 3. There's actually a I don't think it's you've heard me talk about this before. I actually don't think it's that bad. Like, I don't think it's perfect.
No, it's no. A lot of people don't like it. But
Here's the thing, because 1 and 2 were such masterpieces, and listen, Godfather 3 is actually not based on the book.
It was original, right? It was original content.
You know why Francis Ford Coppola made it? Because he was having financial issues because of his divorce.
Oh, gotcha.
And also Godfather 3. This movie is, I think, what the best of it is because, and yes, speaking of that one, the Mario Puzo's Godfather Coda, Death of Michael Corleone, I actually got that on DVD for Christmas. I have yet to watch it. I need to watch it.
Hey, at least it was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, but you know what? I think the thing is, because 1 and 2 epic classics, both of them won Best Picture.
Huh. It's funny. Look at this. It was nominated for Academy level stuff. Even the Golden Globes, it all got nominated, but nothing won except for it won the Raspberry Awards.
No. Oh, that explains it. Sofia Coppola. Okay, the one thing I got to bitch about. Here we go.
Wait, don't do anything yet.
Cue the music.
All right, go ahead.
Sofia Coppola, why do we have to talk about you? Why? Okay, Sofia Coppola, who is, you guessed it, Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, who plays Michael's daughter. And here's how she got the part. It was actually supposed to be Winona Ryder.
Really?
Yeah, but she got saved by Tim Burton because she was doing Edward Scissorhands instead.
That's right. Yep.
If any of you guys watch my Burton month of Edward Scissorhands, Burton month, the thing I miserably failed at. But no, if you watch my Burton month review of Edward Scissorhands, I said that Edward Scissorhands saved Winona Ryder from Godfather 3. And also, I think her 2 sons were in that movie. So, it's a family affair.
Matt Hemsley just pointed something out, too.
Oh, God. What's Matt Hemsley saying now?
Matt Hemsley in the chat board is saying that it came out in 1990. This is the same year as Goodfellas.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. I think Godfather 3 sort of ended it perfectly. Like, listen, I don't think it was perfect, but... I don't think it's as bad as everyone says. Okay, now time for the big question. JT, Godfather or Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Really?
Yeah. And no question of a doubt. You know why? Because Godfather to me, and I think Matt will disagree, but whatever. Matt will agree, but The Godfather to me is a great, groundbreaking, incredible achievement in cinema. However, Goodfellas is, to me, a little bit more entertaining. I say that because there's a little bit more action, a little bit more, gun violence and whatnot. Like, I'm not saying there's not gun violence in The Godfather. I'm saying it's a little bit more executed, a little bit more violence. In Goodfellas instead of The Godfather. I have nothing whatsoever against Goodfellas, but I will say Godfather is. I have nothing against Godfather at all. But I will say I had a better and much more enjoyable time watching Goodfellas. What do you think, Bill? Between Godfathers and good?
Okay.
Godfathers and Goodfellas. What do you got?
Well, I think for like legacy status, I'm gonna have to say The Godfather, just because it has more of that legacy, if you know what I mean. But I kind of find Goodfellas a little more entertaining, like you said. But like, here's the thing: there's this guy on YouTube. His name is The History Buff, and he made this note when he was reviewing Goodfellas, and he said, "I think The Godfather is a great film, but here's the thing: The Godfather is a little more a romanticized version of what the mob is like."
What Godfather is?
Yeah, it's a more romanticized version. Like they portray Don Corleone as at least in Godfather 1, they portray him as a civilized human being.
Yeah, take a look at this too. This is exactly what you're saying. No finer film has been ever made about organized crime, not even The Godfather. He's talking about Goodfellas.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, in the beginning of, for instance, for Don Corleone, in the beginning of the film, when that guy is talking to when his daughter got hurt in a car accident by her boyfriend and their friends, and he got off scot-free. He goes, "What do you want me to do?" And then the guy goes, "Kill them." And he goes, "I can't do that." And or from the Godfather saga, when they're visiting their dying friend, he goes, "Wait, Don Corleone, it's still your daughter's wedding day. You can't refuse a favor, right?" He goes, "That's right. What do you want? What do you want me to do? Just kill me, please?" And he goes, "I can't do that. Just because listen, in the opening of The Godfather, if they said, okay, I think they portray the mob in The Godfather as a little too civilized. If you know what I'm saying, they portray them as a little too civilized,
right?
If that was one of them in Goodfellas. If they went up to Tommy DeVito or what's him saying, "Hey, can you kill them?" He goes, "When and where? And how?
Yeah.
And what do you want us to do with the body?" But yeah, I think Goodfellas is more gritty because I think it's more realistic. I think it's a more realistic portrayal of how the mob is, where I think The Godfather is a little more romanticized. But I love The Godfather, but I think Goodfellas is more entertaining. But I think Godfather is slightly the better film. Mm-hmm. It's sort of it's sort of a mixed bag.
Bing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Godfather. I can't wait to watch that DVD I got. And now another one you wanted to talk about was
the last one I wanted to talk about was actually a TV show. Was The Sopranos?
I thought you want to talk about Scarface. We can talk about The Sopranos.
What's that?
Thought you want to talk about Scarface because that a few things, but we can talk about The Sopranos now.
No, we'll talk about Scarface.
Then we'll talk about this. Let's talk about both of them.
Movie, then TV show.
Good idea.
Scarface, 1980. Oh, sorry, it's 1932. My bad. This is the last movie, and then we'll talk about the Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go first.
Okay, guys. I'm about to say something that's going to cost me a lot of friends. Oh, no. I did not like Scarface. There! I said it!
He said it.
I said it, folks. I did not like Scarface. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Come at me, world. Look.
I just thought it was most of the... Okay, it's about a Cuban immigrant named Tony Montana who comes from Cuba and gets into the 1980s cocaine deal.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I just kind of found this movie boring.
Really?
I kind of think Scarface is overrated. And I feel like it just dragged on. Like, it's cool. It has some good quotes. I'll give you that.
Say hello to my little friend.
Or everybody's the bad guy. Well, say goodnight to the bad guy.
Got good quotes. You have to admit that.
Or in this country, you got to make the money. Once you make the money, you get the power. Once you get the power, then you get the women. And then, of course, you want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend. And
it's funny. So many people know that line, but they don't know where it's from.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you know the song, but you don't know who sings it.
Yeah, it's like who sings that again? What?
But yeah, I'm sorry. I think that movie, it's like over 3 hours long.
How long is it?
It's like over 3. Oh, scroll up.
It's 170 minutes.
So, which is about.
That's an hour and a half.
It's slightly under 3 hours. Yeah.
Wait, Scarface? Hold on 1 second. It's just under 3 hours. Yes, 2 hours and 50 minutes.
It's just under 3 hours. Yes.
Does it drag out to you at all?
Yeah, I just found it. It kind of a lot of the movie just dragged to me. And no offense to Al Pacino, he's one of my favorite actors, but I'm sorry, guys. Listen, if you liked it and I didn't, listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I just found this movie. I just didn't find this movie as entertaining.
Well, you're making it really convincing for me not to see it still, because I still haven't seen it.
Listen, if you want to go, don't take my word for it. If you want to go watch it, listen, folks, just because I don't like something doesn't mean you don't have to like it. Just because I like something, it doesn't mean you have to like it. Listen, I always say, if I like when I review a movie, if I'm saying I don't like this movie and you want to go see it, go ahead, see it. Yeah. But don't, form your own opinion. Form your own opinion. Like, if you liked it, even though I didn't like it, if you liked it, fine, go ahead, bro. If you liked it, that's your opinion. It's not like, or if there was a movie that I liked and you didn't, okay. It's okay. We can have a difference of opinion. Like, I'm not going to sit here and call you an idiot. I'm not going to sit here and think you're a horrible person. But I just really find this movie overrated. And I feel like there's just not a lot of substance in it. And like, again, I think Al Pacino does a good job, one of my faves, but the movie, I just didn't think it was that. I just really didn't think it's deserves to be up there with the Godfather and Goodfellas. I
don't blame you. To be honest, it's one of the lesser known, less popular ones. I shouldn't say lesser known, but less popular, violent, gangster movies. Well, I can't really comment because I haven't seen it. But okay. Now you're making me think. I want to see it just kind of get my own opinion. But
if you want to watch it, go ahead, watch it. Yeah, you said you want to talk about the Sopranos. Well,
yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, and then I have 2 other movies I want to talk about really quickly, and then we'll wrap up after the Sopranos.
What movies are they?
Okay, I want to talk about one mob movie that's very underrated. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called Mickey Blue Eyes.
What's the other one?
Okay. It's a movie that I really wanted to bash. I'm not going to get into too much bashing because Justin and I did a review of it. Gotti.
Gotti? G-O-T-T-I?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay. With John Travolta?
I'll be honest, that is the worst mob movie ever.
Do I remember this? Oh, it made $6 million at the box office, too.
Have you ever seen if you've ever seen me and Justin's review of it, you'll know why.
I think I saw it.
It is basically, the editing is shit. The writing's garbage.
Wow.
It's about basically the life, the times, the rise and fall of John Gotti. Here's the thing that I just really here's a couple things. Like it starts, John Gotti is at the end of his life and he's talking to his father in prison. And then he's like talking throughout the movie, and then what happens was at the end, and then John Gotti dies at the end, and then Gotti is narrating what happens to his son beyond the grave. I'm like, oh my God, this is so stupid. And then, I got a list of things that is wrong with this freaking movie. Like, they actually tell you who you're talking to. Like, they'll go, hey, you see that guy over there? That's Paulie. And they'll put Paulie. You see over there? That's Jimmy Boy. Jimmy Boy. And one of the dumbest things, like, there's a scene when they're at a 4th of July party. It's supposed to be in, like, the 80s. They're playing the song Fireball by Pitbull.
In the 80s? What?
I wish I was making that up, JT.
Oh, I hate Pitbull to begin with, so this is already getting my nerves angry.
And I'm like thinking, you're playing a song that didn't exist for 30 freaking years.
Oh.
I don't think Pitbull was even born when this scene was happening.
He might have been born in like 1990. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll look that up later. There's just wonderful things, folks. It's called Google. But anyway,
dude, what the
God,
hell?
I never want to see this movie again. As long as it was actually me and Justin's worst movie of 2018.
Oh God, harsh words.
And that deserves a special title. And you know what? We used to do a thumbs up, thumbs down rating. You know what? I'm like, I had to get a new rating. And you know what that rating was? 2 middle fingers.
Yeah, we're on camera.
It is a bad film.
Okay.
And like, listen, like, oh God, I don't even want to discuss it anymore. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
anyways, bad movie. No one cared about it. It literally made less than what the budget was. We're probably never going to hear from it again.
Well, because there was a controversy with Rotten Tomatoes. What happened was because at the beginning, it had a 0%. It had a 0% critic rating, and it had like an 80-something% audience rating.
Wow.
And the thing was, why it was 0% is because they didn't have a critic screening.
Oh my God.
And they're like they said, well, who you gonna trust? A bunch of trolls behind a keyboard, or real moviegoers? And
right.
And then what happened was Rotten Tomatoes, they had, I guess, and the people who made this, the head of marketing for this movie, they made an account on Rotten Tomatoes, but it was made the month Gotti came out, and that was the only movie they reviewed. And I don't know if you know the channel Screen Junkies.
I'm looking at it right now, yeah.
Dan Merle, he said this was a troll account.
Oh, wow.
He said this is not real. And then Rotten Tomatoes looked into it and said, yeah, this account's legit. And then the Gotti marketing team said, see, Rotten Tomatoes says it's real. You owe us an apology.
Wow.
But this movie was, you know what? I'm going to stop talking about it because talking about it means I acknowledge it exists. And I like to live in a world where it doesn't exist. Okay, let's move on to something actually decent.
Hey, look at this. All right. Hear me out. I'll go first, and I'll finish. This is the last one we're going to talk about tonight.
Okay.
The last gangster property or gangster TV show we're going to talk about. I will say I have seen a bunch of in no particular order. I've seen a bunch of episodes for this show, and overall, I liked what I saw. It's about this family in Newark, New Jersey. You know, the guys in the mob. It's kind of a modern day one. The series finale was so controversial with "Don't Stop Believing," and I didn't see that episode, but you know what I mean. Like I don't know. I just overall like I probably saw like a season's worth over different seasons. So, but overall, I got the gist of the show.
I've seen a few episodes.
Good. I definitely like it. I didn't hate it. For don't get me wrong, but I definitely really liked this show quite a bit. And actually, a lot of it's reaching a resurgence in popularity as of lately. I forget the reason why though. I forget why it was. To be honest, but yeah, no, it's I liked it a lot. Like I said, I didn't see a lot of it, per se, but I did get the overall gist of it, and I liked what I saw.
My parents used to really liked it. On HBO Max. Well, it used to be HBO Go. Now it's HBO Max.
Yeah.
My dad literally watched the whole series all over again.
In one sitting? Like
No, of course not.
I was about to say that's a lot of.
But I actually, because I took a pop culture class when I was in college, and we actually watched a few episodes of that. Yeah, and now there's actually a movie that's supposed to come out this year.
Oh, is that correct?
Yeah, it's called The Many Saints of Newark. They have someone playing a young
So it's before the TV show.
A young Tony Soprano. Well, they can't do a Sopranos movie now because James Gandolfini, he passed away in 2013.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
May he rest in peace.
Yep.
So yeah, that should be interesting. It's going to be like a prequel, and it's going to be a prequel about when Tony Soprano when he was younger.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
And you know what's actually interesting? There's actually a Goodfellas connection in this movie. I mean, this show.
There's a what? I'm sorry?
There's actually a Goodfellas connection.
Oh, really? Tell me how.
Lorraine Bracco, who plays
Where's the cast? Hold on. Yeah.
Lorraine Bracco, she plays Dr. Melfi, I think. Yeah, hold on. Sopranos. Go down, please. It's okay, television. Down, more.
There you go.
Yeah, she plays the psychiatrist, Dr. Melfi.
Yeah.
Dr. Melfi.
Melfi, yep.
She plays Dr. Melfi in The Sopranos. And she played Karen Hill, Henry's wife in Goodfellas.
Oh my God. I didn't even put two and two together. How funny is that?
And also, what's his face? Christopher, what's his name? Chris Maloney, who plays Chris in The Sopranos. He also played Spider in Goodfellas. The guy, hey, Spider, where's my drink?
Yeah.
That was actually played by him.
I completely forgot about this. This is hysterical. Okay. So get this. You know who else it starred? And I don't know if you knew this, but it starred Steve Van Zandt.
Oh, from E Street Band.
He's in the E Street Band. He was he's best friends with Bruce Springsteen, which is funny because it's about a New Jersey show. How funny is that?
Yeah.
He actually acted a lot more than you would think.
I remember him being on the show.
And he looks Italian. I mean, look at him. Steve Van Zandt. Look at him.
Absolutely.
He's great, but it's so funny. He was in Lilyhammer as well. He played Silvio Dante on The Sopranos and Frank Telegiano on Lilyhammer, which was only 2 seasons. But hey, he's been around, so that's funny. I forgot about that.
He's been around the block.
He's a rock and roller, and he's on The Sopranos.
And he's from and he's also from Jersey.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey itself. He's a New Jersey guy.
New Jersey.
I love it too. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, there was one movie I wanted to talk about, and I think it's very underrated. It's called Mickey Blue Eyes.
Yeah, really quick.
Okay, here's the plot.
Oh my God.
Hugh Grant plays a guy named Mickey who is getting married to his fiance, played by I think Jean Triphorn.
Okay.
Well, first he wants to get married, then he finds out his girlfriend's family is in the mob. Godfather connection. Her father is played by James Caan.
What? Oh, I see that there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is actually. I think this is a very underrated. I think this is actually a very underrated mob film. And when I watched it, it's actually a funny story. It was me and a buddy of mine. We were over a friend's house, and we were gonna go home, but it was in the midst of a snowstorm, so we just stayed the night and we watched this movie.
Wow.
And we watched this movie, and it was really it was a really good. It was actually very interesting. Hugh Grant is just so awkwardly British in that movie. He's just like, they're trying to say forget about it, and he's like, with his British accent, go, okay, forget about it, and he's like, no R's, no R's, okay, no R's, forget about it. It is so hilarious. He's so awkwardly British in that movie. Forget about it. Oh, I'm sorry, your father tried to get me to not pronounce my R's.
You're saying it's a comedy, a comedy crime film.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Give it a watch. It's actually very entertaining.
Yeah.
Would I put it up there with The Godfather and Goodfellas? No, but it's just, I thought I'd just give it, in my mind, I think this movie's very underrated. Yeah. Okay. There's my mob film. Scarface is my most overrated. Mickey Blue Eyes is my most underrated.
Yeah. And your most overappreciated is Gotti.
Kevin Connolly, if you're still existed, I have a bone to pick with you, buddy. I still haven't forgotten, pal.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm so angry that movie exists.
Well, luckily you don't have to deal with it for too long, you know?
Yeah, I'm never going to watch it again.
Yeah, thank goodness, right? Do you have any other thoughts, concluding thoughts, anything else?
Yeah, too bad we didn't get to any of the old time gangster movies from the 30s, but I've never really seen any of them. So
yeah, I mean, it's all right. But hey, we mentioned the big core ones, and that's okay for the most part.
We got to the biggies.
We got the gist of it overall, which is perfectly fine. You know, that's hey, that's A-okay. Yeah. Any other thoughts, concluding thoughts, Bill?
No, I think I'm good. You?
I'm good too. So in that case, that wraps up another episode of Mixed Bag, ladies and gentlemen. We
like the shirt.
Look at the shirt. Don't look at this shirt. Look at that shirt. Bill has once again. Thank you so much for joining us, Bill. So thrilled to have you again.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yep. And so, if you like this video, please share it. If you watch us through it all, please enjoy the video again. And we hope to see you next time, next Wednesday. Sorry, we started a little late today, but that's okay. Next week we'll start on regular time at 6.
Hey, dude, with all the shit that's happened today, I think us starting late is the least of the problems. So,
yeah. Well, look, we're not gonna get into that at all. We're not gonna talk about it.
I was just making a joke. Oh,
good. So, all right. Well, anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and smash the like button and become. I forgot to mention, Bill, we're on Patreon.
We are?
Yes.
Okay, you got to show me how to get on Patreon for some. We'll talk about it later off camera.
We'll talk about it at the end. But anyways, support us on Patreon. Please hit that subscribe button while you're at it. And it's for everything we do in the here on the Super Review Show, movie reviews, movie commentaries, live mixed bag shows, and anything across the board you like on the channel. Please hit that subscribe button and like this video while you're at it too. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, everyone. Have a great rest of your week.
All right, you too. Everyone, have a good